Hey everybody, this is Robert. Welcome to the studio. Welcome back to the channel. Most importantly, happy Friday. You know what that means, or a lot of you know what that means. It's time for 3-Question Blitz. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. There's been a lot of new subs in the last couple weeks. Probably has to do with my money shift on the Yaris. So if you've come because of that, welcome. We appreciate having you here. Please, if you have any ideas, any comments on the channel, don't hesitate to drop them down below. We do read every single comment. We actually try to respond to everyone, but lately with some of the stuff that's been going on, we've been getting over 1,000 per video, so that's a little bit difficult to do. But we do. I can guarantee you one thing: we actually have read every single comment and have input into it. So the videos that are coming up are going to actually be based on that. A lot of the questions, like if there was no rev limiter red, will Toyota pay for the repair? I'm going to touch on that today, but we'll go into more depth on it later. So a lot of these things come, or actually really all of our topics come out of your comments. So 3-Question Blitz. The idea behind it is that it's Friday. Tom's got a Corona sitting there behind me. I've got one somewhere around here as well. And we're just kicking back and relaxing. Something for you guys to kick off the weekend with, a short touch on different questions that you guys have had in the comment section. And then we throw a bonus in there as well to top it off. There's timestamps below for those of you that do not want to sit around and hear me chit chat about different things. So click the different chapters and move along to the question that you're interested in. It's lighthearted, it's fun, and we try and keep moving on it. So before we do that, a lot of you guys have been asking about things like the GR Yaris merch. I'm having a little bit of fun with that. Maybe getting keychains made out of the old rocker arms and things of that nature. And since you guys asked for it, we're definitely going to work on it. I'm going to see if I can get get some extra rocker arms and drill them out and actually turn them into keychains. We'll do a couple things like that. And then actually this design up here, a gentleman from Instagram has created for us. I'm not going to say who it was yet. You guys might know by the style of it. But we're going to actually make some t-shirts for that. So when the time comes, we'll let you know about that. But yeah, so we've got a lot of cool things like that. Obviously, the Apex hoodie is available on the Apex website. So we do have things if that's what you're interested in. If not, let's get right into the 3-Question Blitz. I'll go through the questions and we'll go from there. First question is going to be, would I franchise Apex? And what are my thoughts on growing Apex and moving forward? The second question is why Toyota isn't paying for the repairs on my GR Yaris. And that's based on the fact that the ECU wasn't showing any over rev. And then what is my biggest complaint about Ferrari? I guess as the brand, as ownership, etc. And of course, the bonus question I already touched on was Yaris merch. So again, with the Yaris merch, yes, we're going to do keychains. We're going to do the limited edition run of the t-shirt with the pistons coming out of the hood and everything. It should be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited because it's a cool shirt. But let's get right into it. Would I franchise Apex? Well, a lot of you guys know that we didn't do taxi this year because we wanted to simplify Apex. We wanted to bring Apex down to a level that we were able to interact with you guys, make videos like this more often and more regularly. Misha has not missed a video since September. He's put one out every single day. I've been a little bit more sporadic, but we're taking steps to get to a point where we can actually work more regularly in the comment sections and with people that come to visit Apex. I think the people that have come this year so far have seen that we've been more readily available. If we were to branch Apex out and end up at Spa, end up at Laguna Seca, end up at Coda, or all of these different tracks around the world, I have a feeling that we would actually be spread too thin. Our sales teams are really just our personalities, if you would not be able to focus on what we find to be the most important aspect of Apex and our love for the Nürburgring, and that is being able to communicate with you guys. So no, I really don't foresee any expansion of Apex into other markets or into other areas. Maybe new exciting things that we do around the Nürburgring, new exciting things that we do on YouTube and other social media outlets, but expanding the company really is not at the forefront. I think there's so much potential here, building a relationship and actually sharing what we want, that actually going other places would dilute that and make it more difficult for us. So that would be, I would say, a hard no. We have no interest in franchising Apex as a brand. The next one, and I guess you could say the main question for the day, is based on the recent video that we did where I walked around and showed you guys the GR Yaris engine as it was torn apart down at the Toyota dealership. And many people said, Robert, wait a minute. If there's no reading in the ECU that you over-rev the car, why isn't Toyota paying for that? Why isn't this a warranty claim? And there's a couple things at play here and a couple things that are going on. And first of all, I openly admitted that I over-revved the car. And when you do that, when you openly admit that you do something, sometimes there's consequences to it. And it's unfortunate because we try and obviously in life learn lessons and do certain things, and maybe even lead by example and say, look, if you messed up, you need to admit to it. And sometimes you feel like it might bite you in the butt, but at the same time, at the end of the day, ultimately, we can get all you guys that get on me for saying those two things. I'll combine them. Um, the reality is that when you do the right thing, you know you did the right thing. I said that I over revved the engine, and I do have in the back of my mind the idea that we could find out very well over the next year that the Yaris rocker assembly has a failure in it. We very well could find that out. We could see these needle bearings starting to fall apart. People have issues with it, and if that happens, I'm going to be very disappointed. Who knows? And maybe at that time I will go back to Toyota and say, "Hey guys, we've got a problem." If Toyota comes out with a revised part number, and a revised part number is when a manufacturer goes and updates a part and it makes improvements to it because their old one was faulty or had a flaw, at that point I will be very disappointed. And it's something I'm going to keep my eye on. But for now, I'm going to go with the mindset that I missed a shift in the car, I over revved the engine, and I'm going to take the responsibility for that. I'm sure that if I wanted to throw a hissy fit and fight and make a big internet stink, I could get a lot of views and a lot of action out of it, but that's not really how I choose to operate. I think that I can spend my time doing what I know how to do, earning money where I know how to earn money, and maybe a little bit less time creating drama. And hopefully somebody in the future will do the same to me on a business sense when myself or one of my team members makes a mistake. Maybe they'll also have learned something from this experience and say, hey, we're all human, and things happen. So in this case, no, I'm not even asking Toyota. I'm not even asking the dealer to call Toyota and ask for an exemption. I'm not asking for any special clauses. I'm just going at the mindset that I made this mistake. I'm going to move forward and we're going to go for it. So that is the reason why they're not paying for it. I'm not pushing, and I honestly don't expect them to. Had I gone in, played dumb and everything like that, then who knows, maybe the fact that it's not reading on the ECU, maybe they would have had to slide it in because they had no proof otherwise. It also brings another very interesting aspect to it, and that is racetrack use. You know, if you take a Yaris and you race it, all of a sudden Toyota can say, well, wait a minute, you raced this car, so we're not going to warranty it. The Nürburgring is not a racetrack. Where I use the car is a public road. It's road legal. So if Toyota were to avoid my warranty because of the use on that, they would have a very big fight with that, selling that in the German market, the car being road registered and having been on a public tourist day. Even McLaren and Ferrari and Porsche recognize that. So if Toyota didn't recognize it, they could end up with some issues. So that actually has nothing to do with it. That's something a lot of people said, oh, well, it was on the racetrack, so that's why they're not warranting it. And no, I was essentially on a very fast back road, if you would, running at legal speeds. So that is out of the question. So that covers that aspect. And really, I think what we can go on to as the next one was that you guys asked me what my biggest complaint about Ferrari is. And honestly, it's quite simple. I don't have one. All right. So for those of you that are still here, yeah, I don't hate Ferrari. Of course, there might be design things or little things like that that I find quirks, but I'm never going to make a video about why I hate something, because I think that in order to justify the things that you dislike, you need to bring a ton more things that you find pleasant, desirable, and maybe enjoyable about a brand. And I could certainly find more things that I find about Ferrari pleasant to the eye and to the emotion than I do things that I could even come close to saying that I hate about them. So obviously I have nothing good to answer that question with. But the last thing I'll leave you guys with is you see that we're shooting with a new camera. You saw that probably on Instagram or maybe even in the YouTube comment section or the YouTube community section. They were running now the Blackmagic 6K Pro, which is a new camera they just came out with in the last month. Something we've been having our eye on for many, I would say for many months, was the 6K Pocket. And then the Pro came out and we said, okay, we need to get it. We've been having overheating issues with the Canon ZV-1. The GoPros are overheating. We've got all kinds of problems. The beauty of this, somebody said, hey, well, I thought you guys wanted to simplify your process, and here you are with a Blackmagic 6K camera. Yes, we do want to simplify. The idea behind this new camera is obviously that it's supposed to give very good image quality. We need to obviously work on our lighting. This literally, you open the box, put the SSD on it, and started recording. We need to learn it. We need to do some things with it. But the idea is that we're recording onto an SSD. We're going to be able to come out of that SSD and plug the SSD straight into the laptop or into the computer, the MacBook Pro, and edit straight off of that. And it should allow us to simplify a process. It should allow us to film for 15, 20 minutes, 2 hours on end without overheating issues. We've lost so many videos because we don't want cuts. We want everything to be one takes. We want everything to be fluid and smooth and feel like a conversation. So yes, this camera system absolutely should increase our render times, because this file is probably going to be, I don't know, 100 or 200 gigabytes. I don't know. I'll let you know when it's done. This is going to be a large file, but it's going to make the workflow, no SSD or no SD cards to take out and swap into the computers, no overheating of the camera and things of that nature. So I think it's really going to improve this workflow for us. If you go back and look at some of our footage, Tim with the ring taxi video where we stood outside, Misha with the first lap of the year video where we stood outside, we just said, oh, let's just take the GoPro off the car and handhold it. The shots are blown out. They look terrible. They're just, it's something that when you look back on and you're doing something, even if you're not a professional and you're doing it for fun, you look back and say, wow, that's not looking as good as it could have. And we're hoping that with this, we can get a look that we can look back on 10 years and say, okay, this is a cool video. We're happy to still, see it on the internet. I feel like if in 10 years we look back at a bunch of 1080 footage that we might have shot now, we might be bummed that we had the technology now to shoot in a higher resolution, but we didn't. So anyhow, guys, that's the new Blackmagic 6K Pro. We'll talk a little bit more about all the gear that we're using and how we have it set up at a later date. But until then, have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the 3-question blitz. We'll catch you later.